This audio program is presented by Audible.com. Audible, audio that speaks to you wherever you are.
This is Fresh Air. I'm Terry Gross. My guests are two great actors who are also married, Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy. Huffman has recently become a household name as a result of her role on Desperate Housewives as Lynette. She also starred in the critically acclaimed but short-lived series Sports Night. William H. Macy is currently in Sahara. He received an Oscar nomination for his role in The Cooler and won writing and acting Emmys for the telemovie Door to Door. His other movies include Seabiscuit, Fargo, Boogie Nights, and Homicide. Now Macy is the executive producer of a new movie that stars Felicity Huffman called Transamerica. It played last month at the Tribeca Film Festival, where Huffman won the Best Actress Award. It's scheduled to open theatrically at the end of the year. Huffman plays a transsexual man who is preparing to have final gender reassignment surgery and is already passing as a genetic female. In this scene, she's being evaluated for the surgery by a psychiatrist. This scene and parts of the interview may not be appropriate for young children.
Do you consider yourself a happy person?
Yes. No. I will be.
Miss Osborne, there's no such thing as a right answer in this office.
Yes. I'm a very happy person.
How can I help you if you won't be honest with me?
You can sign that consent form. Please?
The American Psychiatric Association categorizes gender dysphoria as a very serious mental disorder.
After my operation, not even a gynecologist will be able to detect anything out of the ordinary about my body. I will be a woman. Don't you find it odd that plastic surgery can cure a mental disorder?
How do you feel about your penis?
It disgusts me. I don't even like looking at it.
What about friends?
They don't like it either.
No. Do you have the support of friends?
I'm very close to my therapist.
What about your family?
My family is dead.
Soon after this session, she receives a phone call from a teenage runaway looking for his father and learns she fathered him in a brief relationship. When she goes to bail him out of jail, her life is thrown off course. Felicity Huffman, William H. Macy, welcome to Fresh Air.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Felicity, in Transamerica, you play a woman playing a man who is transforming himself into a woman. So the obvious first question is, how come you were cast in the role and not a man?
It's a great question, and it's one that I actually asked myself and the director. After I got the job, I called Duncan Tucker, who's the director and the writer, and I tried to convince him to cast a man in it. I went, thank you so much for the part. Now you really ought to cast a man because, not to be crass, but everybody knows what's under my skirt. And he said very astutely that the movie is not about what's under your skirt. The movie is about becoming who you really are. And he wanted to be true to the essence of a transgendered woman, which would be that they're a woman, as opposed to the externals.
Now, the kind of woman that you're playing as a man who's becoming a woman is a different kind of woman than I suspect you are. In other words...
What are you saying?
Well, here's exactly what I'm saying, that he's kind of inhabiting a kind of woman who is probably female in a way that's slightly different than you are, with an almost studied wiggle in the walk. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about learning the voice in a second, but he's learned how to be a woman, and you just are a woman. And there's a certain type of female manner that I think people who are transsexuals adopt. That's a little different than than a lot of women who are just women, who are in some ways less feminine.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a journey, because most transgendered people who are transgendered do it later in life when they actually have the finances to do it, because it's very expensive. And also, after quite a few years, 30 or 40 of struggling with this decision, because they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Either they can be alienated from themselves not presenting who they really are, or they can have the sexual reassignment surgery and then they're going to be alienated from society. So it takes a long time before you're willing to sacrifice society for yourself, if that's clear. And the reason I preface that is because you take a 40-year-old guy and you say, all right, starting tomorrow, I want you to wear a dress and earrings and makeup and present to the world as a woman, because you have to dress as a woman for a year before you are okayed for the sexual reassignment surgery. And, they're they don't know how to do that.
A lot of women don't know how to do that.
Yeah, myself included. So, yeah, I think what I chose for Sabrina Claire Osborne, which is what my name was in the movie, Bree, it was a very studied, learned, almost beauty pageant kind of femininity, because she had to go to that extreme to learn it before she could find it in herself. I think in the last scene of the movie, you can see her being a little more settled in her own femininity. I also happen to know a lot of transgendered women who, are completely comfortable being a woman and aren't that sort of mannerisms, don't have those kind of mannerisms that I adopted in the movie.
Felicity, the movie starts with you're a character watching a videotape of a woman demonstrating for pre-op transsexuals how to place their voice so that they sound more like a woman. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing your character tries to achieve through the movie. Mm-hmm. And there's something that's so convincing about what you've done with your voice for the film. Could you talk a little bit about placing it for the movie?
Sure. Let me give you some background, though. Sexual reassignment surgery and hormone therapy does not alter the vocal cords. So you can have someone that looks like Kate Moss sound like James Earl Jones. And it's one of the most difficult challenges they have, because it's hard to find your female voice. And the woman at the beginning of the movie who you see in the videotape is Andrea James. And that's one of the things she does, is she coaches, as you said, she coaches men how to sound like women. And, you want to sound authentic. You don't want to sound like a guy, but you also don't want to sound like Tony Curtis and Some Like It Hot. Women don't even have the chest cavity or the head cavity that men have to drop it down. I mean, you saw Andrea on that film go, oh, finish up for me, Bill. She went, she went down like that. So I couldn't find a way to do it, and I knew it was key. And I finally we were rehearsing in New York, and I went to a wonderful voice coach named Katie Bull. And through a bunch of work, we figured out how to find a voice that sounded like it was in transition, which is as close as I could get.
So the interesting thing about what you're doing with your voice is that it's lower than your actual voice as a woman, but it's higher
by about 4 octaves. Yeah.
Wow.
Lay some on her. It's odd.
I can't get there without
You did it a minute ago.
Talk amongst yourselves.
There it goes. I heard her.
Hi, Terry. Hi. I'm really happy to be here at NPR.
That's about as low as I can get right now.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so it's much lower than your voice, but it's probably higher than a lot of men's voices. So you had to find something in between.
The thing that Felicity did that's so great in this film is that we now all know her very well because of Desperate Housewives, and you look at this character, and it's Felicity in there somewhere, but it's just all a little wrong. It was perfect. She really has done a number. She erased her face somehow. I don't know how she did it. And then,
no, exactly, yeah.
And then painted it back on. Mm-hmm. So it's her face, but it's just not right somehow.
I